Just as I thought, ladies and gentlemen, I knew it wouldn't take too long before the gossip gang begins to, show themselves to IVATAR, because the altercation that happened, today between IVATAR and OTEGA with SABRINA in the mix, ladies and gentlemen, I just sat watching everything play out, and as much as IVATAR had her own share of the blame, OTEGA had his own share of the blame, it was just very glaring what was going on there. It was glaring. You could sense there was an undertone of solidarity amongst the gossip gangs, amongst that clique. And it was just very interesting to see, and I'm going to tell you all about it, all right? And my sincere apologies, first of all, for not updating you guys earlier. For those of you who are not aware, the diary session is currently in motion, right? The housemates have their diary sessions every Tuesdays and Wednesdays, and it's going on, and it is quite explosive. It's very explosive. There's a lot of spillage going on. There's a lot that these housemates are sharing. It is also very emotional. Yeah, very emotional. And I must give kudos to the big brother of this season. He is very intelligent. He is intelligent. He is giving the energy that he is supposed to give. And I'm so happy for it. I'm so excited for it, because this Big Brother of the season is not allowing the housemates to slip off. Yeah, he's not letting them off the hook so easy. He always has a ready comeback for each and every single one of them that wants to come and play mind games with him or the viewers. In fact, it is exciting, and BBNaija is going to put together a comprehensive video where I get to share with you the details and also analyze the various aspects of these housemates diary sessions, all right, especially the ones that had their session today, all right? Because I know that not all of them will have their session today, so it's probably going to be a 50% having theirs today and the rest having theirs tomorrow, all right? So we're going to do all of that on another video, but in the meantime, on this video, we're going to analyze the disagreement that ensued between IVATAR and OTEGA, as I mentioned before. So if you are just joining here, you're especially welcome. My name is BBNaija. This is Frankly Speaking with BBNaija, and I am the girl with the tea. Thank you all so much for tuning in, and without further ado, let's just get right into the details of this video. First of all, get into the depth of the issue. What exactly happened on the surface level was all about the fight, the tussle for importance, right? For a major role in the housemates wager task presentation. Yes. So for those of you that watched all of my videos yesterday, I had mentioned on one of those videos the brief of the week's theme, the theme of the week, as well as instructions for the wager task presentation of the week. And currently the housemates are preparing for it. A lot of conversations have been going on. Housemates are delegating roles. They are structurizing things and trying to just set the task in motion. And kudos to the head of house, Jason J. He's doing a fantastic job at ensuring that everything is running smoothly. However, just as I also mentioned yesterday on one of my videos, it doesn't look like Jason J has all the control of the entire situation, because of course OTEGA, that has stylishly, sneakily positioned himself as the father of the house, he is also trying to maintain dominance over the entire affair. And a lot of the ladies are not missing it, i.e. IVATAR, right? So there is a team of the creatives, the people that are going to put together the hosting, or rather manage the hosting aspect of the wager, the people that are going to handle the writing aspect of the wager. In fact, people that have different major roles in ensuring that their show, as Big Brother wants it, comes to fruition. And the head of house is trying to cut down on the multitude of ideas that have been flying around, and by doing so, some people's ideas have fallen victim to getting cut off from the grand plan. Yeah. and Sabrina's idea was cut off. Then unfortunately, IVATAR's idea was also cut off. But then quite interestingly, you could also see that Otega is fighting really hard so that none of his ideas will be cut off. Yes, this guy is holding on firmly to his role as leader overall and also to most of his ideas. And that did not escape the notice of IVATAR, who decided not to back down, because for her, she was actually given the role of a second host or assistant host, and she said she must host because what's his name now? Otega wants to host. He's in charge of this, he's in charge of that. So he wants to really assert himself in all areas of the task, right? So IVATAR too wants to show herself, you know, she wants to be involved. She wants to put herself out there, not just the big guys in the house. And, you know, it's quite understandable where she's coming from. But then the wrong thing she did was actually accusing Sabrina of also contributing to her role getting scrapped off, and Sabrina wasn't having it, and so Sabrina was going off, and then Otega too blew things as well, right? The guy was going off as well, and it was at some point he felt like he was actually threatening the head of house that if the head of house allows IVATAR to retain her hosting role, then on God, he's going to remove his hands completely from the entire presentation. And I get where he's coming from. He's quite offended, which is valid. But then he made it look like without him, the entire thing would crumble. And I found it quite weird because, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know if you've really taken out time to study all of these housemates. So these people are a multitude of talents, a multitude of creatives. They are good. So Otega making such threats continuously to the head of house that he's going to remove his hand. I was looking at this guy, I'm like, wait, hold on. First of all, do you realize that the same head of house you are making these threats to, he's the one that wrote that Odogu na Big Spender, that song. I don't know how to sing the song, but he's the one that wrote the song. It's a major song. So what are you talking about? And IVATAR too was really riled up because Otega was coming at her, Sabrina was coming at her, and guys, another thing that was not really hard to miss was the fact that almost every member, in fact, every member of that gossip gang from last night, they are a part of that group. So it felt like an ambush. Unbeknownst to IVATAR, it felt like an ambush. Everybody on that table, with the exception of Day, who was having her own conversation with, what's her name now, with Doris, everybody was a member of that group. Also, okay, with the exception of the head of house as well. So it felt like an ambush because IVATAR was trying to make her own points, but because everybody was talking at the same time, yeah, there was just a lot. It was an uproar at that point in time. So the other members, even Sultana too, as I said, Sultana was there, she left and then she came back, and then later on she called the head of house aside with Otega. She said she wants to have a private conversation with them, and then they moved aside to have a private conversation. The cameras did not show us what they were talking about, so we don't know. And then they came back, and you could tell that she was really proud of Otega. She was happy that Otega and Sabrina, they had fired back at IVATAR, because of course she is not on good terms with IVATAR. So you could also sense that she was quite satisfied, right? Because one of the things I noticed from their gossip session last night was that Sultana was trying to, you know, mobilize people to herself, get them to believe that she's a loyalist, and then to pit them against not just IVATAR, but anybody in the house that she does not like. And Faith noticed that and explained it during the diary session. Don't worry, I'm going to explain more about that on my diary sessions video, yeah, but you could see what was going on there. It was an ambush. And Otega, that deems himself to be the wisest in the house, he did not even see that he was being used by Sultana to get her way. Sabrina, that believes that she's the most qualified in the whole house because of all her plenty degrees and all the nationalities that she has, she too does not know that Sultana has succeeded in also using her, weaponizing her against IVATAR. So guys, I was just watching the whole power play thing going on. It was just so funny. You know, Otega's ego was so big on his forehead, like, yes, I said what I want to say. I said what I want to say. Me too, I decrease. Me too, I decrease. And it was just so funny. And at that point in time, I had no choice but to applaud Sultana. Because guys, for strangers you just met, it's not easy to mobilize people like that to become your puppets, indirectly doing your bidding without them even realizing that they are being used. Because on a normal day, ladies and gentlemen, we know that that issue between Otega and IVATAR could have been easily resolved, because we know that Otega can be reasonable when he wants to be reasonable. But because of that gossip session they had last night, you could also sense that, in a way, their perception about IVATAR, by virtue of the many vehement things that what's her name, Sultana, had said about her, had affected negatively their perception about IVATAR. So, ladies and gentlemen, that was what was going on there. It was just very interesting to see the power dynamics and, yeah, the dynamics in the human relationship at that point in time. Because once upon a time, they were all on good terms, but then all of a sudden, everything has gone south. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I would love to know your thoughts about this matter because it's insane. It's insane, all right? Now, there is also another matter on ground. You see, because the housemates are having their diary session, you know, we're kind of missing out on certain, like the beginning of certain climaxes in the house. One housemate, Ibu Fubara, had mentioned that, oh, there's been clashes here and there. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm panicking. We're having a diary session, for crying out loud. These housemates should wait. After their session, boom, they should burn down the house so that all of us will see everything together. But anyways, one of such issues, which I think was an issue, is between Day Day and someone. I don't know who that person is, because at the time, what's this guy's name? Faith was having his diary session. So it was after his diary session, we're hearing remnants of conversations between Day Day and Doris, where Day Day was explaining her side of the story, you know, something about she and some people, was in Mide, were doing their makeup upstairs, and then some girl made a comment about people, that all those people that are always doing makeup. I don't know if it's Sultana, I don't know, but guys, I am suspecting that it's Sultana, because Sultana is the one that has a problem with Mide and Day Day doing her makeup every day. So guys, let's just wait and see. I'm hoping that much later they revisit the conversation so that we can actually get the full gist, or maybe the gossip gang will give us a part 2 of their session tonight. Who knows? We will have to tarry and wait. Ladies and gentlemen, that is it. I'm going to stop talking here right now. I will see you guys on my next video, because there's still a lot more to unpack. Thanks for watching and have an amazing day. Bye.